All right, welcome back to another Conquest Corner. On this one, we are going through a battle report that just happened as of this, like 3 to 4 hours ago. I still want to go back and discuss a game I had against Weaver Courts, or maybe both of them. I don't know if I'll go through them in their full detail or shorter, because it's been a little bit, so I think it would be a little bit haphazard to go through, like, effectively the play-by-play, because I'd kind of have to be looking at the pictures to remember everything perfectly anyway, but I still have some discussions I could do about that. But this one, so I was at Wargamers Guild today. Originally, they're going to have a Conquest tournament, but with this being Thanksgiving weekend, yesterday Black Friday, today being Small Business Saturday, so do support your small local businesses. If you're actually support them no matter where you are. If you're in America, we have that as a particular day, as we call it, mostly because of Black Friday being the large business day the day before. But anywhere you live, I don't care where you are, support local businesses. They need your money, and they help support your towns and all stuff like that. But they were going to have a tournament today, but unfortunately, just everyone was busy. So me and one other player were both available, so we decided to play anyway. I was going in either way to sell some heavy gear Blitz minis that I had. Blitz? I think that's one. Essentially, I had some models I was trying to get rid of either way. So this one is going to be an Old Dominion versus Old Dominion. Our lists are a bit different. They're both bringing a big slug, although a little bit of different slugs. So let's go into mission lists and take it from there. Also, do keep in mind, although right now I know they're running all kinds of Black Friday deals as well, but if you do want anything for Conquest, we have a discount code in the show notes below. Saves you 10%, helps out the show as well. I don't know at this current time if it combines with anything else. Some things it does and some it doesn't. So if you use it, great. If not, hey, get whatever cool deals you can. All right, so let's take a look at the mission. So we were playing Forlorn Hope. For this one, objectives nice and close. That means it's essentially automatically making it where we're going to be skirmishing only here. The sides won't matter nearly as much, or really theoretically shouldn't. There is the two markers, closer one to use your friendly. So 3 points for destroying the one that is closer to your opponent, essentially the opponent marker. Excuse me. 2 points for staying on objective zone, 3 extra points if you got 3 or more of them, and 2 for destroying characters. Now we both have 3 characters, so it would still count the same at the end. Let's go through his list first. Oh, and just because I believe he watches as well. The only reason I don't say names is I don't clear it with people. Honestly, I don't think ahead of time to clear it with someone if it's okay to use their name. So that's the reason I don't. If I ever do play you and you're fine with it, or if I remember, you can tell me. I'll absolutely use your actual name if you're fine with that, like first name or anything like that. But since I don't, just out of courtesy, that's the only reason I do that. I know some people are very particular about what is shown or what is talked about, and people are not. So that's what I do. So for his, actually, let me scroll to his Warlord's regiment first there. All right, so he was going to mount a Strategos. Now, this originally was going to be a tournament. It was kind of known. It didn't seem like it was going to be. So he effectively, I think, said he brought a list that was more tried to play towards his painted models. Sorry, hit the microphone stand. He's working on that now. So he's working on trying to paint stuff. I think he said, my list isn't that great. He essentially threw in what he wanted. I put together a list with the Ocratur that essentially tried to do what I could. I tried to make it where, yes, if this became an actual tournament, maybe a bunch of people showed up that didn't sign up originally, because who knows? I know I've run plenty of events where that happens, that I'd have a good, strong list to compete, but not necessarily bone-breaking or anything like that. So for his list, he had Monash Strategos, and he took Climatus, the Blade of Kalsor. That's the one that gives +1 attack and cleave 1. So it does give a little bit extra punch to that Strategos. Cataphractor unit of 4. Didn't take a Hyratos. I don't know if he intended not to take one, because we kind of talked about the way we talked. I thought he did, but he sent me his list and he did not. So I see where he was lacking the points for that, but there might have been one thing he would have swapped for it. And then a unit of Legionnaires. Legionnaires are great for sitting in the backfield. This mission, you don't necessarily have as much of a backfield, but if you can get your other units in front, then they can go stand on the back of the end of the objectives and grab them. All right, let's take a look at the Hierodeacon. So Hierodeacon sitting in a unit of Cultists, personal favorite of mine. I think it's the best way to run Hierodeacon, just because then you get it round 1. And Cultists don't want to push forward anyway, so you have no problem staying back in the cheapest way possible. 4-pack of Canophores, so trying to push up him as hard as you can, and another little 3-pack of Legionnaires. His other one, 3-pack of Legionnaires, but it does have a Dark Sign attack in this one. So this is the one that wants to go sit at the furthest back point it can and just get you some of that dark power. Although both of us are allowed to go to tier 4. Tier 4 doesn't really matter because it relates to morale, and we each only have one unit that cares about morale. 4-pack of Cares. Unfortunately for him, he cares now. Drain Will, that is the defense spell. -1 the defense is good, but really, personally, I take Cares because of Insanity. Because then I can shoot you and use Insanity. Both of those together really get something going. Unfortunately, Insanity is based off Resolve, and my Resolve is Dash on every unit but the one. So I've done that too. I've run Cares, and you just run into the wrong type of list. Doesn't help. 4-pack of Bone Golems. That with the Cannon Force can become a big problem. And he was running the Unhallowed Sepulchre. So he wanted to run, essentially, without the Priest on top. I was running the one with the Priest on top and wanted to just somewhat a little comparison, see how they do and see what they can do. Keep in mind, for anyone who doesn't know, both of them have the do 3 wounds to yourself and cause an effect. When you do that, you do get a dark power point. So you will see us gain some points at times that seem a little bit different. The other thing is that Unhallowed Sepulchre is much more about a buff piece, where the Theocrator is a much more for itself piece. So the Unhallowed Sepulchre does have an ability that relates to Resolve. Won't matter in this. It does give +3 to the command stands. And I can't remember the other one. That's the only one that he used. I know there's a third one. They both have 3. I don't believe he ever used the other one. But yeah, 3 extra attacks and a cleave 1 to the command stands. Which, that even makes it where if you're looking at Legionnaire unit, you're now at 8 attacks, assuming that you are inspired, hitting on 3s with cleave 1. That means even that particular command stand is going to get some work done. So a good way to run it if you're going to do that, although we'll talk at the end my particular thoughts on that. Target a friendly regiment with an 8, they count their tier as tier 3. That one didn't come up just because, remember, the Strategos has an ability that for 1 round you can count as 1 tier higher, so that's sort of your tier 3 piece. And Archimandrite, nothing special there, though Archimandrite's really good. Alright, so that was his list. Taking a look at it overall, it's not a bad list. He told me it was, but we were joking around. We were actually having a very good game in terms of keeping it pretty light because it didn't matter for anything. But overall, I think it does have some good strengths. I think the Sepulchre, I'm back and forth on. The problem I have with the Sepulchre, also, your Bone Golems and your Cannon Force don't have command stands, so they don't get the bonus. A few other spots, but Bone Golems, if they get to the right thing, are very good. Cares, unfortunately, since that Old Dominion, it kind of lowers it, but otherwise Cares are actually, I think, pretty good. Multiple Legionnaires to go sit in the back. And you said, big pack of Cannon Force. And that Cataphract unit is legitimately still scary, even though it didn't have a high Ratos. I think it probably should have, personally. But still actually a very scary unit. If it can get those impacts into people, it can do a lot of very good work. And if absolutely necessary, the Sepulchre could make them tier 3 in a turn where they really need it to be to get pushed in, because then they get their shock and all of that, and they can do a lot of damage. So let's take a look at my list. So for mine, Hierodeacon and Cultist, you got to go with that. I'm sure other people do other things. If you play Old Dominion, feel free to tell me about how you don't do this and what you do instead, but this is what I prefer. 3-pack of Bucephaly, because I absolutely love them, especially the way I painted them, personally. 3-pack of Legionnaires. I'm going to have 2 packs total. 1 has a Dark Centaur, 1 does not, because I couldn't afford more. 3-pack of Caratids, because I wanted at least a little bit of range damage. Keep in mind, I originally thought this list for a tournament. Later, once I'd already built my list, someone mentioned it was going to be, Old Dominion slap fight. I was like, oh, okay. They're good against anything, but I did want to be able to get some damage early, pierce 2, 3 shots each, so 9 shots on 2s or maybe on 3s. Later you get into 4 shots each. That's enough to take off like a stand of average type things. So I wanted to be able to limit what's coming at me. Next warband is the Theocrator. I absolutely love the Theocrator. 1, love the way it's painted. I love just the model itself, the way I painted it, put it all together. I do really like it. Getting a free spell, having an extra defense, having some cleave, and casting that magic as, essentially that 1 free. So essentially 3 actions where 1 is a cast, and you're always going to want to cast something. is great. This thing is amazing, personally. And the 30 wounds really does help a lot. And the defense 3. The Sepulchre is only defense 2, and that is actually a really, really big difference. That 1 point really actually does quite a lot. Has Unstoppable, has its Vanguard, all those sorts of things. So overall, it is a great piece. I absolutely love running it, and it's just fun to get out there. Its draw events, just so people are aware, one of them does relate to Resolve. It didn't matter in this. One of them gives it +2 to move. +2 to charge. So essentially it's moving 8 on a charge. And get a Dark Power for every 2 stands that you take out. And the other one is +4 trample. They're both trample 8, so this thing can go to trample 12. Like I said, there's my other Legionnaires. 3-pack of Bone Golems. I painted them. They were a pain to paint. Did not enjoy that, so I bring them everywhere I can. A Ziliarch Warlord. So Ziliarch Warlord, he has the Simian of Legion. So that's the banner that lets me reroll 6s on the unit he's in. He's obviously going to go into the 3-pack of Praetorian Guard. Yes, in reality, it should be a bigger unit. That's how many I have with the... Very early on, one of the tournament kits had like special shields. My models are actually still in the car. And I use it for that. I have 12 of those shields. I would like to get my hands on some more. If anyone knows a good spot to source them, let me know. I have some stuff to trade, or I'll pay for them. But I really like those shields. I would like more, but I want them to have those shields. So that's the particular form my OCD is coming in today. My Centaur Padrami, little 3-pack of them, and a 4-pack of Varangian Guard. Since I wasn't going to put the Ziliarch with the Varangian, I wanted them to have the extra stand, so they could lose a stand and still have the 3-stand effectiveness. I wanted to put the Ziliarch in the Praetorian Guard. That's something Dan does quite a bit. He takes a bigger unit, but he puts it in there. I wanted to test out that idea of getting them to effectively, because they're Bastion +1. So that means if they're tier 3, they're defense 3 from the front because of shield. Bastion is Memory of Old, and then Action Bastion. They can get up to defense 5 with rerolling 6s. So it makes them just a pain. They're much squishier if you can hit them in the side, especially a little bit squishier in the side, especially more so if you can get it before they bastion up. So I wanted to try that, and keep in mind, Ziliarch ability means 1 round of the game. All these regiments can swing twice if they want to. It's not going to matter too much for what I did, but we'll take a look at that shortly. All right, those are the lists. So when I saw his list, I want to kind of walk through my sort of thought process here. When I put my list together, I think Ziliarch is currently our best warlord. I think Theocrator Warlord isn't bad either, because once you're stuck in, getting 2 casts is actually really useful, since you have the 1 free cast, and then, hey, I can use that. I could either get 2 actions that free cast, or action that cast. Oh, I succeeded enough. Or sorry, that one you automatically get the extra, or the 40-point Unholy Mastery. Actually, sorry, sometimes if I don't make him a warlord, Unholy Mastery, because that means I could have 2 spells in an action, because once I'm stuck in, I'm not inspiring anyway. So, but I think otherwise Ziliarch is our absolute best warlord. I think their Strategos isn't bad. Saving him, calling yourself a tier 2 or tier 3 once you're stuck in, is actually a really useful round. I don't know if it beats the double attack, but it depends on the type of stuff you want to run. Obviously, if you're not running Varangian Guard and Padrami and stuff like that, he's not going to do you any good if you either don't have them or don't want to run them. I guess Anathati as well, though they're very squishy. I got a bunch of stands. I just didn't take them in this particular list. So my thought was I wanted to start with this Ziliarch, what I put here. I knew I wanted a Theocrator in there, and then flavor from there. I don't like bringing less than 2 Legionnaires, because I do want someone whose only job is just to stand and try to grab the objective. And I do like at least 1 Dark Cenotaph. I try to take more if I can. The other one is sitting right here. I'm still painting it. I don't take the other upgrades in there. I always take the Cenotaphs because I think just getting the 2 extra power pool tokens can get you... The key is you got to get to at least tier 2. And then tier 3 as fast as you can. And that can really make a big difference. So... overall, when I look at his list, obviously I'm worried about Cannifors, I'm worried about those Bone Golems, and I'm worried about the Cataphracti. Everything else, decent handle on. But those are the sorts of things that can really put the screws to me if they want to. I actually have a picture of my opponent's army. I didn't take a picture of mine. I really should have. I didn't think of that. I'll get good at doing this one of these days. But we see. So he's in varying states of paint. And you know what? That's fine. I'm a big proponent of, and he said it as well, I want every one of my games to be more painted than the last one if I'm not done yet. But playing is a motivation for painting, to me at least. When I paint, it makes me want to play more. When I play more often or have something coming up like a tournament, that makes me want to paint a lot more. Like next week at Maplewood Hobby on Sunday, December 7th, I believe that's the Sunday, we are having a Conquest tournament. And for that, I want to take my Euroni, and that's a good way to try to make me paint up the rest of it. One thing I will mention as we go through this, the round marker, I will mention what round it is. The round tracker, I didn't push it forward on one of the things. Unfortunately, one time it got reset, so it's about off by 1. All right, so I don't know why I did that. I clicked the button for it to not do it. So we start round 1. So I'm tracking my victory points at the top. Fallen Pantheon is his victory points. Dark Power is my own power. I will tell you his power. In most turns, I'm aware of what it is or very close to mine. All right, so what we start with for this, for about the first 3 turns, I won who goes first. I chose him to go first. Then he started winning. Unfortunately, the camera, I'm noticing now, really glosses over the face. But essentially, I put my cultist down here. He ended up having a character, so he... no, actually, sorry. He put down first. Oh, we might just not be able to see them in this. They're there. I would say, wait, no, he went first. He absolutely did. He put his cares back. Oh, when we're looking at terrain, just make sure everyone's aware. If it looks like a yellow to field, that is just purely hindering. We have the forests that are hindering, obscuring, of course. We got some water, and these sort of brick shapes are the impassables. I push cultists up. He pushes his cares up. Obviously, by the end of this, we're both going to have our cultist units on. We're both going to... Now, I cannot choose to Dark Shepherd because I don't have an undead unit to Dark Shepherd. So instead, I'm just going to roll whichever one is that gives you the power. I can't remember the name of which spell is which right now, but I am going to look it up because it's going to irritate me beyond belief until I remember. Dark Supplication. That's it. We both got our Dark Supplications. He chooses not to kill a stand, though. So he pushes up with his unit. Notice, I run mine in a little 4-brick. I'm not trying to have them actually fight. I want a small footprint because I want to be able to throw all my other units around this. I want tons of space. So it might be a little bit tough to see here, but I have tons of space on this side. There is a bit of space on the other end. Probably not quite a foot, but enough space for a 3 wide to come pushing up, maybe even a 4 wide. And I'm not going to push them forward at all because their goal isn't to fight anything. Their goal is to stand back and try to score me some dark power and tag other units as they go. He runs his as a wide, though, instead, because he actually wants them to shoot. Me, personally, that's just not something I do. Oh, and I didn't bring my objective pieces, so when we have these two, these are the objective markers. I have some, I just didn't put them in that particular bag. All right. Same picture, just looking a little bit better for this one. And that is our first turn. So I'm essentially at 2 power. He is sitting at 2 as well. He had the option to go to 3, but he chose not to. So this round, we do push the 2. The next round, we screw up and we don't actually push it to 3. I think I push it back down. So from here on out, for about 2 rounds, it's going to stay 1 lower, but we're essentially on round 2. So he had all of his lights. I have all my light, my only light, of course. For mediums, I end up choosing... Actually, sorry, let me think about that for 1 second. Yes, I choose a unit of Legionnaires, the base one, not the one with the Dark Cenotaph, because their goal is just to move forward and be a Dark Shepherd target. I then end up getting a roll for the Padrami. He has a bit less luck. He gets his Cataphracti. His other mediums, I think he missed the rolls for all the others, if memory serves. So we'll see those units obviously. The other thing, My opponent had forgotten his cards, so he was using playing cards. We went through and discussed the pattern of what cards related to which and the whys. It makes sense to me at the time. I fully agree with everything he was doing. We talked through it. It was, fine and friendly. I won't always remember which card means what right now, but at the time we discussed it, and yeah, it was essentially a hierarchical order. Hey, cultists were like the ace because he played aces low, and they're the worst thing on the board kind of thing. So we had that discussion. So you'll notice some playing cards. That's what's referencing. He ends up going first. You'll see that Jack down there. That's actually for his Strategos. So Strategos, essentially, I make him go first. He puts Strategos, does nothing. My cultists stay back here. I don't want to engage anything. They don't want to push forward. I want power from them. So I keep them back. I do end up having a 3-pack of Legionnaires that pushes forward. My 3-pack of Legionnaires, I made sure they were sitting in this hindering terrain, and I Dark Shepherd them. So I put them down to 2 to get an extra power. One thing I'll just say right now, both of us always made our Dark Supplications when we wanted to. We both start Dark Supplication for like the first 4 rounds. So Dark Supplication works. You'll notice the cares hang out there. It makes sense. He knows I'm having the Prodami come in. If he pushes hard, I could rush into him. I don't mind rushing and tagging them, because then he's not going to be able to shoot, and his magic really isn't going to do anything to me because they're just going to lower my defense. So he keeps them back. Absolute smart play. You'll see, so essentially it was his turn of them staying back there, back and forth. He pushes his cultists up, keeping them behind. Again, he could have had the move to jump in front of his own objective if he wanted. He chose not to because he said, hey, you know what? If I jump in front, I'm now getting range for these to hit on the following turn easily. And he'd rather not have them blown out of the water yet, which of course, why would you? The Prodami are fast enough at move 8 to be able to go grab the corner of this objective. A little bit of my thought process when I look at this, and this might have been also on him, the things he does and didn't do. But when I look at how far forward to move them, I look and say, okay, can they get shot? No, that's just outside of the range. It's about 18 to there. It's a little bit off of the one guy, so maybe a guy has range, but I don't think overall they did. When I look at this, okay, I'm angled in such a way. Actually, that's over the 18, because here to about here is 18. So one can reach, the other ones don't. So I'm trying to set up for what I want. What I don't want to have happen, these guys are only 4 wounds a pop, and the defense 3. I don't want to take a lot of damage before I get to rush at someone, because they do pretty good, but they don't survive great. We can see then he gets his horses in also to tag that objective so he can score himself some points. And that actually ends the second turn. So the round tracker's off. It should be turn 2. We both score 2 points. I'm now at 5 dark power going into 6 at the start of turn 3. So this should say turn 3. I apologize for that being off. We realized, I think after this turn, that the turn marker was just wrong. It ends up not mattering. We didn't play too many turns, but we were wrong. All right, for turn 3, I auto in the Theocrator. I want it now. 100% do I want it now. He autos in the Cannophores, and we both get a few extra units. We're going to find that it's going to take one more turn. Essentially, he gets everything except for the Sepulchre and his 2 Legionnaires. I miss my... What did I miss? I know there's a few things. Oh, I think one of my units of Legionnaires and my Bekephili. I believe they're out till turn 4. Otherwise, I think I got everything. But let's take a look. This round, I'm trying to remember who won. I believe he won. Or I won, I made him go first, actually. Yes, he won, I made him go first. Because, yes, he has this big scary bus, but the closest thing is in the terrain. Who cares? This unit can wait because, hey, to get here, he's going to cross terrain. I'd have to cross terrain to go at him as well. So I theoretically have options here, or here, depending on what he does. So this becomes one of my very last goes. I want this to go late, depending on what he chooses to do, of course. All right. He has his character go for delay. Oh, sorry. There's the character going for delay there. For this one, he chooses not to kill stands. I tend to. For this, at least early, he didn't. You'll see my Legionnaires went. My Legionnaires just pushed themselves up enough so there's a little bit of a lip of this, because I made sure both kind of had it. I wanted them to be able to do that, but a little bit of lip of this terrain while still touching the edge of the objective. So if he wants to come at me, he'd have to touch this, or he can just go somewhere else. All right, he has his Legionnaire unit with his Archimandrite and Dark Cenotaph pop up right behind the Cares. So it'll take him another turn, but then he can go about scoring onto this objective here. You'll see I get my Varangian Guard unit to the side. At this point, other things that have occurred. I believe he's went with his cultists and just kept them back for the round. Because again, he pushes forward, I hit him. So he stayed back for round 3. But my Varangian Guard come on the side. There's some terrain over here. So they're just going to pop in, essentially facing that terrain again. My biggest concern is this thing getting free reign to hit me. Yeah, it's not going to do really much to the Varangian Guard. I couldn't go any further. They came in. Oh, my apologies. This is turn 3. They should have came in from the back. That's okay. They didn't really gain anything doing this, but I saw that they're heavy. Turn 3. They should have came in from the back. I made that mistake. It's honestly not going to make it. Honestly, it might have been more advantageous for me if I had come in straight from the back, but that actually is absolutely a mistake on my part. The front is only a couple inches further, but it doesn't really, I don't think it really helps much. I could have overcome what it did. And if I was here, depending on what happens next, I actually could have gotten things better. So my apologies, realize that now. Forgot they were heavy when I put them in. But either way, they essentially came off to the side. My goal of that is, if he pushes forward with this unit, I want to be able to smack him in the following turn again. Being here actually would have been better. And even if I'm here, if he really wanted to charge in, I'm fine with that. You'll kind of get caught up. These guys are a great target for them. But I kind of push off to the side. Again, I don't think it makes much of a difference when all said and done, but hey, no game is perfect. We all make mistakes. My cultists actually do move up a little bit, but just a little bit. Mostly, I move them up and reposition. So again, if these guys weren't here, this terrain feature gets in the way, because that is currently the scariest thing on the board. Because a lot of these lighter units, like the ones here, it can one-shot going through. Now, it might overextend his battle line, but he could. Oh, sorry. What am I looking at difference? Oh, is this just a different picture taken? Oh, my Praetorians come in. I put them behind the Padrami, because once the Padrami leave, now they could walk up and grab this objective for me. Okay. I say the one thing that's tough is, since the other things, I know he ends up having his character go. He's essentially delaying here for a bit. I don't believe he actually, and he pushes them, but not so far. Oh, sorry, there's my Theocrator. My Theocrator essentially does a move that, well, essentially does 2 moves. So that way, again, it can sort of put itself with some terrain in front of it. And then it heals back a stand, so that way later I can destroy it when the Hierodeacon goes. I pretty much readily always did that. He waited a little bit, so my dark power kind of went up a little bit faster than his to start with. But then when he started losing a few units, he was able to pop back up. He does push forward. He doesn't push forward that much, though. He essentially blocks me out of the objective. And he knows, hey, you're on this terrain. It's really not worth doing the push now. Because if he pushes more forward, it doesn't aid him. His one thing, and also because I did the Legionnaire thing, so I have a good amount of stands. This technically is counted for, 4 stands. So he could have taken if he wanted, but I think his idea was, if I push too far forward, the Varangian here could hit me, especially if they were here instead. They could absolutely hit. Like I said, what's going to happen the next turn wouldn't have made much of a difference anyway. Okay. For other things, oh, and my bows come on. So he essentially positions himself. I have more activations just at this point. He gets some extra things later. He just didn't have them right now. When my bows come on, they're able to take some pot shots here. They're just at 20 inches. So they're able to hit the Cataphracti unit. I do a few wounds. Nothing too great, but I got a few wounds in. But they were just in range. And that is... Oh, there's his bone golems. I was going to say, I know he got one more. His bone golems. He puts them right behind here. His thought, hey, charge into this. I did put the forest in between this on purpose, mostly for, hey, if you want to go over it, maybe you don't get your impact, you don't get your inspireds, things like that. I think it makes it more interesting. We can't just like push forward purely. But he does stack up those bone golems behind, and that does mean if I were to do something that destroys his cultists easily, his bone golems could retaliate, and bone golems can do a lot, especially a 4-pack. That should just be a picture that kind of shows the overall battlefield, and that should end our 3rd turn. So at this point, I am now grabbing 2 objectives. He's going to end up grabbing, he's only grabbing the 1. So I'm going to go score 4. He'll score 2. So we'll go up 6-4. Oh, and for these guys, all I literally did for my Padrami, I just moved them and shifted them a little bit. They had plenty of move. But essentially, let me do it this way. And again, I know it's basic, but just to explain, they're on the back end. So I push them to the front because 1, I'm kind of blocking the objective. I'm just about the 12-inch range here. I think a guy has it, maybe not everyone. And they're not quite in the best range. I'm pushed over, so okay, if you want to come through here, you're going to have to go through the woods. I'm trying to give myself charge lanes, so if I want in turn 4 to do the special Zilliarch ability, I can. But if I choose not to, at least I have a few options of who to hit. And that will just be... Oh, there's his Cannon Force. My apologies. I was waiting for them. I forgot he did his Cannon Force last. His Cannon Force on the far end. So, speed on essentially my left, and some heavier stuff on the right. That ends that particular turn. So that was turn 3. We corrected it. I end up scoring, and that one it should be on the 6. But essentially, I scored a 6. He scores the 4 at 8 dark power. So we tick to Power Pool 2 at the beginning of 4. A little bit slower. Theocrator, I will say, does slow it down, because if you don't want to kill out units, it does slow down your killing in general. Here's where we're going to do a whole bunch of stuff. Now, he goes first. He won the roll for this one. I won the first 3. He wins the next 3 or 4. Of the next 4 turns, I win one of them, but it's not this turn. I understand why he did it. I didn't think about it at the time, but I was concerned about this unit going first. So here's sort of my thought process when I was trying to think of what could go first or second. As you're going to see, I end up having the Theocrator go first, because my thought is, if he wins it and he pushes in to destroy this unit, because he's within range, he could just charge and get the swings. They'll probably die. My Theocrator would be able to follow up. Or if I get it first, I checked, I'm in a move with the 2-inch bonus charge ability. I'm in a move with a charge on about a 2. So my goal is to hit them, because they're scariest if they're charging in. And I look and said, okay, hey, I can hit any way I want. If I hit, I can use other colors as well. Look at this. If I hit essentially here, that is illegal hitting, and they're going to have a problem getting in because they're too close. So that's my overall goal. That's what I want to have happen. That's what I'm looking at essentially for my sort of turn. He surprises me. He moved charges into these guys, which 100% both, 1, takes away a lot of the Padrami lethality. 2, means that my Praetorians can just stand on the objective. They're not really going to get anywhere. It causes me issues to be able to reach. It does block off because this marker here, yes, it's friendly. I'm allowed to go over it, but I can't stop on it. So that being there, it was actually very surprising and really good move. I wasn't expecting that to happen. But him doing that, and I understand why he did it, because if he goes first with this, they're losing that charge bonus most places. We're about 20 inches to here, so with the 20 inches, that'd be on a 6-up if he wanted to do the move charge. I mean, getting to this might have theoretically been his best plan if he could reach. Unfortunately, he couldn't quite reach. So if I was him at that, I might have... I don't know if he measured to check this. He saw me measuring it, so maybe he didn't either notice or just didn't plan for that, or didn't want to plan for that. First thing I do is I push the Theocrator in. I do hurt myself to do it, but essentially I move charge. Since I move charge, I am still allowed to do a spell, because you get a free spell casting action. So I hit it with some damaging spells, and then I also trample into it. And those things together take out 2 stands, which means I get 1 dark power. because that particular ability is, hey, +2 charge and 1 dark power for every 2 stands you destroy during activation. So I was able to take that down. So that's what we see have happened there. Oh, he had the Hero Deacon obviously go. You'll notice, my apologies, didn't catch this before, when he had the Hero Deacon go, for the first time, he actually kills the stand. So he's able to get some more dark power. Neither of us use our Warlord abilities this turn. Okay, he pushes up his Bone Golems. I do think there's a mistake here. And here's the mistake. 4 wide is a problem. Yes, I understand he wants to go 4 wide, but when he saw the sort of lanes, and maybe he wasn't sure what was going to happen, the problem with the 4 wide is one move wouldn't allow them to charge into the side of my Theocrator, because they're not far enough up. They'd essentially be here. You can't cross the line. Okay, so he's not going to be able to charge there. If he was 3 wide, though, he would be able to get some options of turnaround, because the problem is now, remember, he engaged first, so he knew where he was engaging, or maybe he thought where he was engaging. This rectangle can't shift around this. The rotation is too close. If he stayed a little further back, that's fine, but essentially, he's too wide. And he could theoretically get a little further over. I'm not sure if it actually had been enough, but even if it was a little bit further over, he's running into issues there. So he can't really rotate into me here to hit this big giant flank. If I don't kill a bunch of his cultist stands, he's not doing any good here. Oh, actually, this particular turn, he did the Hero Deacon ability. Which one is it? Undying Devotion, which would make those cultists count for 1 dark power each. So he's hoping, I guess, that I destroy them. But going 4 wide with this unit is nice, but you don't have the maneuverability. Notice the Canivores have it. They have the whole side of the board in which to turn. This unit doesn't. A 3 with a 1 in the back is probably better, I think. All right, so for other stuff that happens, my Praetorian Guard go. They just kind of shift up. They really can't do anything. I'm trying to watch for Canivores trying to rush into my front. So I just reshift them and try to position for Canivores. He moves his ghosts up. He is able to shoot into my Padrami, and he does a total of 2 wounds. He lowers the defense and then shoots in. I believe, even if he did, either way, he got 2 through. And you'll see I have my other Legion of Legionnaires come in on the left. This is one with the Dark Cenotaph, running a little 3 block because there's no reason to go wide. I'm not looking to attack with these guys. So I'll keep them nice and shallow. He does swing into me. That's why I took some more damage. So he does get some wounds when he has these horses swing into me. The timing of those particular things doesn't really matter too much. Notice he has his Legionnaire unit pop up. Hey, now they're on the objective. Now they're claiming it. And Archimandrite go heal back that unit for when the following round, if he wants to take it out. Anything else that really happened between that? I tried to take pictures between every single action was what I was doing at one point. Oh, when my Hero Deacon goes, yeah, I just decided to kill a stand because this Legionnaire unit hasn't gone yet, which means I can unbreak it to grab the objective because he's not going to reach it now because this thing's in the way. His Canivores move up. They just move up to essentially get a good position. Not too much else that they can do in this particular instance. You'll notice on the right, I have my Bone Golems come in. My Bone Golems, I measured it out. I made sure this was about 12.1. I don't want either of us to get that long bomb charge. He comes in early, I can hit him in the side. If not, I can rush in and stand there and hold them back. Carefully come in the middle. I didn't have a better spot for them. They really couldn't fit on the side because of what I had. And if these guys had done it right, the Varangian here, then these guys would have went to the other side instead. There'd been plenty of space. I really didn't have the flanks available. I didn't want to block my line of sight with the shots, so I just put them here and I figured, hey, whatever these Bone Golems do, they're the best ones geared up to fight them. Because Bone Golems, I think they're like 101 or whatever, but even then, they're just not going to have much of a save. So the Cleave 3 will do something to them. So I wanted that unit ready to go. One thing you're going to notice through all of this, that might have been, is this the last one? Yeah. He brings his 2 Legionnaire units on. This one I can make sense of. This is impassable terrain back here. Let me mark it, make it a little bit easier to see. So I guess that's why this one's over here. I'm not entirely sure. My Varangian pushed forward, so they've been straight. Instead, their line would have been about here, which actually might have made it possible for them to charge here. It wouldn't have made a difference what's about to happen. It actually would have made what I'm going to do next easier. One thing you'll notice, my Padrami, when they went, I chose not to swing. Actually, I think that was a mistake. One, he made it so they would all get extra power if I destroy stands. Two, I kind of overestimated how well I would swing because I'm uninspired, so it would be on twos. But I was worried if I do too well, then I open up his lane for these bone golems. The same way as when I shot, you'll notice there's one less horse because I shot the horses. I was in range. Not that the Theocrator can't take down the horses, but because, can't take down the horse itself, but because if I luck out and destroy a stand of these bone golems, if he takes it, say, from the far right side, now he can fully hit me in the side or do whatever he wants. I want him to have to be forward. I want him to have to reform if he wants to do anything good. Same reason I didn't attack here. I kill some stands. If he kills them correctly, if I kill, say, 2 stands, he pops off the ends. Maybe now he's got some options to charge or do something else. Or if I do way too well and I take it out, he can then slam in, destroy this. My Kefali will not be able to see him to target in, and he can keep essentially marching forward. So I was purposely avoiding it. But as you can see, he is now on this large objective in the back. Unit here is broken, and the unhallowed sepulcher, as well as my guy, doesn't score, although this guy is standing on it. So I got 2 objectives to his 1. I'm going to score more points, so I'm going to go to 10. He now goes to 6. We go to turn 5. Oh, sorry, yeah, here's another one where I didn't push the thing forward. It is now turn 5. We have both of our armies. We both choose to use our warlord abilities, especially because his warlords might be about to go away, but he still uses his warlord ability. Not that it matters, you could do it anyway. All right, he does win the roll for this particular one. He ends up having his cultists go, and they take out 2 fresh, they potentially do 6 wounds to the horses. They take out 2 of them. He knew I was using my ability, he didn't know ahead of time, but he understood there's a very good chance I want to use my ability, which means he wants to essentially try to lower what I can do with it. I will say his dice were not great at times. He had some good 40k rolls. But this time they're really good. Those cultists slammed down 2. I swung back and I did like a wound. Yeah, exactly 1 wound. And remember, I got to swing twice. So yeah, it's only 1, but I'm not tier 3. He is counting as tier 3. I'm close. But he is counting as tier 3 because he used the Strategos ability. So I do a total of 1 wound. He takes on 2 stands. He's in good shape. Now, in reality, once he did that well, I honestly would have preferred if he just destroyed this unit. But I kind of banked on that going first. It didn't happen. Yeah, you'll see my centaur goes and it does literally nothing. He again makes it where, hey, if you kill any of these stands, I get extra power. But I didn't. I didn't do anything like that whatsoever. For what he has go next. Oh, sorry. On my side, for what happens here, my Theocrator goes. When my Theocrator goes, I magic into the horses, take them out. So magic into them, do the wounds. He gets like 7 hits back on me with his die fighting, so I do take some extra wounds. I think I took like 3 or 4. And I know that large versus large, I have the advantage. I do 3 wounds to myself with the idea of making myself trample 12. I magic into this. That means I still can get a move and attack because it's an extra magic. So I charge in, I attack, I trample at the end. And I do about half of its wounds. I do about 15 wounds in that amount there. The other nice part is I've now closed off this back objective for him on one side. He does have a shot on the other side, but not a great shot. Depends on what he does with these legionnaires. Okay. His bone golems, he does end up rearranging them. And he should end up actually charging into this. Oh. Sorry, so that was my going. For his going, it just makes it tough with these particular things. I want to say it was the Archimandrite. No, the Archimandrite goes later. It might have just been this unit hanging out. Nothing too crazy happens right there. My Bone Golems move charge just the tie down. They're now Aura Death 8, and my hope is between that and impacts, maybe I can take one out. So, yeah, his cares move up. They shoot into the horse. I take 2 wounds on that. He magics actually. First, he does the magic into the bone golems, so that way I'm a lesser saves, and then shoots into the Vajrami, gets 2 wounds. So the care's effective. They can't be quite as effective as they normally would, but is able to do something. I thought these guys reformed in charge day. Maybe they do that a little bit later. He might have missed something there. It's just hard. I understood at the moment what his thing was, but now looking at it, it just makes it tough to remember what is what. That's okay, though. Oh, my Varangian, since I get a free additional clash, that means I can move, charge, and clash. So if I was straight like it should have been, even then, move up enough 9-degree pivot and charge in, we are able to flatten out. And it's only one stand, but I know that this is the big thing I have to take out. And I know I'm big enough that then I'll hold off on the objective, because right now I'm not even claiming it. This guy's 6 contesting stands, 0 claiming. So if I do that, I can actually grab the objective. I put 4 or 5 wounds on it. So it's down to, at this point, down to about 7 wounds once all said and done. Time might be a little off on that, but I know I get it down to about 7 wounds. You'll see his Legionnaires move up in a second. And you'll see my Aura Death take a standoff. So essentially, this is right when he's about to swing 3v3 to do all of that, to see what things he does to me. So my Varangian went up. This single Legionnaire on my turn essentially is what pushed up. So his Legionnaires pushed, mine pushed. Then he went over here to the right to his Cannon Force. And I was able to take one out with 8 Aura Death hits. He swings back, takes out one of mine and a few extra wounds. He does about 8 wounds. But I'm absolutely fine with the trade. I have no problem with that trade over there. So my cultists move up. I move up so I have some options. I do actually, the cultists do actually, that single front stand does take a shot here and does do a wound. Oh yeah, sorry. From where he was, he moved and reformed only. It's next round he charges in to give himself options. And what I did is I cast the Bless power of my Hierodeacon onto my Bekephili, because this is a 5-up charge. It's like 11 inches or just over 10. And yes, the terrain is in the way, so I wouldn't have the Inspire, but the Bless makes it worthwhile. So I'm setting up for that's something I could try, because I did check, I can wheel around this. I won't hit great, but I will get all 3 in. It just won't be perfectly square, which is fine. So I know that's the last thing I have ready to go, and the hope is that I can make it happen. You'll notice the Bekephili didn't move. It didn't happen. I did try it. It didn't work. My Praetorians do move up to grab that objective. Now that I have this right side locked down, I can go stand on the objective to make sure I keep it. And my Cannon Force start shooting into Bone Golems, and they do take out a Bone Golem. So now he's down to 3 legitimately anyway. Dark Cenotaph pushes forward. At this point, we're both going to end up being tier 3. Tier 4 only actually matters for 1 Hierodeacon spell and if we kill each other's cultists. So on this particular turn, though, I now have 3 out of the 4 objectives. So I'm getting 9 points. Because remember, it's an extra 3 if you have 3 or more. He is grabbing the one in the back, but now it's starting to pull away in terms of points. So at the end of 5, I was my point total off. So I think it should actually be 19 points, not 20, but that's absolutely fine. I just marked one off by, and he's sitting at 8. So essentially I'm up by 11 currently as we go into the next round. So now we're approaching round 9. I am tier 3 legitimately. He is tier 3 legitimately. We're both going to end up technically being tier 4 in the next round. It really won't make too much of a difference now that we're at high enough tier. So we don't really worry about tracking it anymore. All right. For this one, this is the round that I actually wanted to go first. I went with the Theocrator first, and I made a big error. Didn't hurt me too bad, but I made an absolutely big error. I forgot the trample's only to the front. So, yes, I did take down his big slug. But I upped my trample numbers, did the damage to myself. I'm down to 10 wounds remaining. Because I was like, oh, I'll trample into the guys inside. He's like, wait, isn't trample just the front? Yes, it is. What I should have done was magic into the unit, because you can magic to someone touching you. Trample front, or even with that, magic front, attack side, and trample. That would have been enough, because it's only on a 2-up save. The Theocrator is on a 3-up, so the worst save hurts it. So I do that, but unfortunately I don't get really much there. His action, he charges in and does 2 wounds to this objective marker. So he's just trying to score some points there. My Bone Golems go next. So I went Theocrator Bone Golem. My Bone Golems go next. I'm currently Aura Death 5. Tier 3, so that means essentially like a draw action, like a draw event. And as an action, so I'm now Aura Death 11. And I do some swings in. I do some damage. It's not enough. I don't take out any particular stands, but I do some damage into him. He goes with them there. Is that them? Yeah, there we go. You can see it here. He takes the 11 Aura Death and he loses a stand. So now he's down to 2. He does do some extra damage, but nothing too great. I don't lose another stand, as you can see. But he does do some extra damage to me there. I shoot with my Canaphores. I'm waiting for my Bekephili last. My Canaphores go. I take down another Bone Golem. The Hierodeacon also magics into them. We're tier 3. I don't need it anymore. So between those two, I'm able to take off an extra Bone Golem. And I believe they're too big to see, but one of them is rocking about 2 or so wounds on it as well. He does some swings. Is it there? Yeah, he'll do some swings into Theocrator. Not too much is going to happen there when he does it, when this unit attacks. Essentially. My apologies. With the way his cards are, I do apologize. It does make it hard to see. My Bekephili stand there. They can't do anything. There's literally no targets for them. This thing is in the way, so they're just waiting for when something better can happen in the future. Here's the next thing I did. So maybe I'll just try to highlight the things that I thought were clever to do. This Radami is in my way. He's a problem. So when he goes, I retreat. I just leave. Because when I leave, now, and he dies to the leaving, which is fine, but it clears it up. So now I can actually charge him with my Praetorians to actually fight this unit. Yeah, he's getting extra dark power, but that no longer matters. So that way I can actually charge in. Because with this, he did shoot. I think these guys took maybe a wound. He did take some shots, but since his other powers aren't working too well, and this all thing here, his cultists are blocking line of sight for all but 2, he's not really getting effect with his cares. The Archimandrite is being kept too far away other than to magic here, unless it wants to heal. And it was doing healing effects, essentially was healing Canaphores to keep that healthy, because I want to say one had 1 wound remaining on it, but he's able to heal it all the way back up. But effectively, it's in his way. So I run away with this Padrami, and then I charge in with my Praetorians, and they take out that unit. So now they're in a good position to push forward. 1, they're on the front of the objective. They can shove forward to go eat all that. You'll notice, do some more. Oh, that's what it was. We do some more shots when actually went to do that. Oh, yeah. Sorry, the unit here actually had him with the cultists didn't. The cultists went wide and shot, and they did 3 wounds, and that was enough to take down another one of these Bone Golems. So now he's down to 1 Bone Golem. So we're tied up here on the right, stuck in. In the middle, I'm now in a good position to push forward and to hit into these units to kind of stick them back. My Bekephili haven't done anything yet, but that's fine. And I'm slowly whittling this away to nothing. And that's actually where we called it. So we essentially were getting turn 7, but we called it there because if you notice, when my Varangian went, they turned around and they did 11 of 12 wounds. He had 12 saves to make. He saved 1, so they're still alive on this side. He does shift down and do some attacks. He does a couple wounds, but I got about 7 or so remaining. He's not able to do that many wounds into me because also he no longer has the buff aura of the 3 extra attacks with the cleave because the Theocrator is not hardened. But we call it here because when we take a look at it, okay, my guys are on the front. You're not going to be able to take them out with whatever you're doing here. That means they can either just stand there and toughen up or charge forward. Down here, it's a pretty even fight, but the problem is now, this turn, I score 9 again, because I have 3 out of 4 objectives. He's only sitting on 1, and he's running out of units to take the others. This 3-pack, even if they killed the Theocrator, I'm going to take down the unit here, turn, and the following turn, I'm into them with the Varangian, and they're gone. I have this objective well in lockdown, and I could push a unit up if I need. This Bone Golem is not going to survive something. Might be the shots, might be something else. If it is the shots, then this 3-pack of Bucephaly will just double move to get up to here so they can take down this, or fight here, or go to the other side, whatever they need to do. But we called it here because we looked at it and we said, okay, with the score, the way it's happening, there's not enough time for him to make it up. At this point, he'll be at 10 points. I'm at like 29. So I'm up by 20 points. There's essentially 4 rounds left. And he's at minimum going to lose the unit in the middle. And if he gets these 3, I'll get the other 3 by the end. But he'll lose the unit in the middle. He'll lose the unit here. And who knows what will happen here. Kind of depends on who swings first. But there'll be damage here. We're probably going to stick at least 1 more round because of the numbers he has. Unless he tries for heal, but if he tries for heal, then he might get a stand back, but my aura of death will be higher because I'll have went. Because when I take a look at this board, first action is down here for Bone Golems. Absolutely. Second action is probably Theocrator to deal with what's affecting it. Maybe it should be the Praetorians, but I'm not as worried with what I see. I can lose the standard Praetorians and still be fine, and they don't have the... there's nothing that's going to suddenly do like 15 wounds to Praetorians. So them just bidding on the 3s is fine. But effectively, I just have too much left to damage with. He's not going to be able to reach the objective down here for sure. It's going to take him turns to reach the other objective on my side. And these Bucephaly can take down this thing. So even if he eats this, I'll eat the one later, and I should be getting at least 4 points a turn. So it's just not going to be enough left for him to be able to claw back. So we did end up calling it here. We talked about if we would have continued, because he said, if we're talking about the game, do I want to continue? I said, no, it's fine. I'm like, I agree. He's the one who asked. I said, no, I agree. The game is getting out of reach. So it's probably not going to go the other way for you. And at least, even if you can score those 2, you're not going to get both the other ones from me. And you kind of need to. And character-wise, like, he's not going to have anyone left to contend to get... He won't get both of my characters. And by the end, I've already gotten 2 of the characters. I might get the 3rd. So he might get 1 of those 3, maybe even 2, but not all 3. And it's more likely I get them all. So we called it there. So thoughts on the game, thoughts overall. 1, Old Dominion versus Old Dominion is always very interesting because it is in some ways a slap fight, but both sides, yes, you don't resolve. So you do lose certain tricks. His cares, unfortunately, lost a lot of the trick that they can do. The luring defense by 1 is useful, but you lose a lot of the trick. However, both sides still have a lot of very fighty things. Carnivores are very fighty. Bone Golems are very fighty, especially when you up that Aura of Death. Aura of Death 11, take free 11 damage hits that you have to try to save on before you even get the swing. Against most things that are, say, defense 3, that's a stand. Even if you don't stack up to the 11, and if you're only the 5, it's not as good. But if you can go first with that, you're like I said, you're looking at a stand going from that, not counting the damage that you do. that's really, really good. And if someone's on bad saves, you could take out multiple. Or if they're like a 4-wound model, 4-wound stance, you might actually take down 2. You might break them as they are waiting to try and swing at you or something crazy. My Cavalry didn't do anything. That's fine. I love them anyway. My Praetorians didn't. I've played against them where they do a lot, so I know the good they can do. So they might not have done it now, but that's okay. I know what they can do. I think the Ziliarch in there is actually very nice. To me, normally I have him with my Varangian Guard. I don't think it's necessary. The Varangian Guard do fine on their own. They don't need support. They don't need help. The Praetorians do. The Praetorians need the cleave and the flurry, something extra, because they get a decent amount of swings, but they don't have that oomph. He gives them that oomph, especially if you can time it well. I used the double attack just terrible. Oh, well, I guess not, because it let the Varangians get in, but it didn't work out quite as good. I think then with the double attack with him in there can actually do some work. My little cultist 4 block, the way I take it, 3 block, I guess, with Higher Deacon, I still think that's the best way to run that, personally. I don't care what it does for most of the game, if it's getting me power, and stuff like that. And then later, okay, I spread out to do some attack. If I spread out early, it gets in the way. It's the same reason why my Legionnaires go in little bricks. I don't do 3 wide. I do 2 wide. Because they're not there to fight. Yeah, with the Profane Sepulchre, yeah, they actually get some attacks. That leader stand now sitting on 8 attacks. That's nothing to sneeze at. I cleave 1, mind you. But otherwise, support 2 versus 4 attacks, I'd rather be thinner and get my other units around faster. Especially because things like Varangian or the units that he took 4 wide. Yeah, that's what I want to do there. For mistakes on my end, absolutely missing the trample thing was a big mistake on my end for sure. I think I cluttered the middle a little too much. I don't think it was wrong putting the stuff in the middle, but I think I probably should have repositioned a little bit. I should probably have had these, or maybe not try for that long bomb charge, just move charge, get in, keep them back. He, whenever he goes, might kill 1 or maybe even 2, but the one that swings back will take some down and just kind of keep him away because this unit ends up doing nothing. They had some potential, but I think where I put it, I just put it too close to other units and kind of just got stuck up. I think overall, I think my opponent made some really good choices. There is a few things I would change. I think if he didn't want to push immediately with the Cataphracti, I think then Cataphracti go very late. I think, pay attention so the game's not being done in vacuum. If your opponent is measuring something, ask what the measurement was. Find out what they're measuring. What are they looking at? Because if I'm doing that before I'm setting my deck, 1, I'm giving you information. And 2, I'm checking for something, the things I can do. In this particular case, if I was him, I was a little surprised. It wasn't a bad call. I think it was actually a really good call, pushing those cultists in. But I have the habit of, I do try to think ahead. So I look and would have said, oh, if I was those Cataphracti, hey, what's the big boy's charge range? Okay, let me see. Could he move charge? Where is that at? Because I'm faster than him, so maybe I stay a little further back. Knowing that you're standing on this terrain, maybe I can try and wait you out. Because that unit, Cataphracti, don't do anything if they don't charge. They need to be charging. So putting them in a spot where they can do that might do a lot more. I think getting a cap on them and locking down the Canaphores on the other end, and these Bone Golems being too wide to get into effectiveness in a turn, I think was the 3 determining factors in this game. Had these been like a 3 with a 1 behind, I think they can hit stuff a lot sooner. Had he went earlier with the Canaphores instead of me getting in there first, I don't know what their plan was. I legitimately, I don't know. But he might have been able to push forward and get some real damage into me first, because that's like 20 attacks, where if he rolls 1s, I don't get a save. So he could easily have done this and more wounds to me. And unfortunately, the Sepulchre is just a worse version of the Theocrator. So the Sepulcher is a better buff piece to others. But for only 20 more points, I'm getting a character, so I don't have to pay for an extra character. So in other words, I'm getting more access to stands, to regiments, and all of that. I'm getting magic. I'm getting cleave 1. I'm getting a defense 3. These are all things that I'm getting that the Sepulcher isn't. The Sepulcher's big bonus is it does things for other units. Okay. That's all nice and well, but for like 260 points, I want to be able to do something myself. Has trample 8, which is nice. But it's only defense 2 compared to the 3. That 1 makes a big difference. Doesn't have the cleave 1. Cleave 1, okay, 15 attacks on 3s when you're inspired is fine. But when you're near 300 point, 250, 260, 280 style point model, you probably are 15 attacks. You should have a bunch of attacks. Without any cleave, it feels much worse. Even that cleave 1, just that little bit, gives you so much more viability. In reality, that's what helped me take down his. Because I had cleave 1, he didn't. I put him to 1s. Okay, yeah, I don't care if you don't resolve. I'll just swing enough. Unfortunately, I think they have to go back and they need to do a little something about the other one. If they're gonna, effectively, what do you get for 20 points? You lose buffs to the army. You gain your own abilities, which I think are really, really good, of course. But you lose buffs to the armies, but 20 points also get you an extra action of a spell, and a cleave, and a defense. Yeah, I'd spend 20 points for that all day. I think the other one needs to either get a bit cheaper, I don't know what, maybe even 30 points cheaper, or it might still need it. Give it defense 3. Just give it the better defense. It is a support piece. It's not destroying anyone in its combat, per se. Is it actually even 15 attacks? I gotta look it up. No, the other one is. Is this one 15? No, it's Sepulcher. 12. So, it even has less attacks. The Theocrator is 15. So it has less attacks, and less defense, and less cleave, and no spells. I said, yeah, its draw event, it can make one unit count as tier 3, which can be very important. Giving those command stands within 8, 3 more attacks and cleave 1 is very, very good, but you kind of have to build around it. I just think the Theocrator is much better. So, take the Theocrator of the 2 right now. I'd like to see them. I said to fix it. I think I forgot that it has even less attacks. You either need to drop it, actually probably 40 points. Maybe theoretically more, but I don't know. But maybe 40 some points. Or keep it about where it is, but you got to give it closer to the Theocrator stat line without casting. Maybe it doesn't need all the buffs, but give it cleave 1 and even its 12 attacks with defense 3. Hey, now you got a real piece. Because 30 wounds sounds impressive, but if I just make you roll dice, you will fail a lot if you're only ever passing on 2s. You're passing 1/3 of the time. That means on average dice, I guess 90. But not 90. My apologies. Because you're only passing 1/3 of those. So for that 30 wounds, I'm looking at needing 45 dice into you. There's a lot of units I can put out a lot of dice. And like I said, hey, I had trample, I have those sort of things. I haven't done the math, I'd have to check, but a unit of Thunder Riders could probably one-shot the thing. Or pretty close to it. There's, for the amount you're investing in it, to be a support piece, you should either be cheap enough that it doesn't feel like it's taking the place of other units, and very good support, or support but still be able to do something on its own. And I don't think it does. The Theocrator, I think, absolutely does. But the other one, just not as much right now. But I will say, great game. Had a lot of fun versus my opponent. We played nice and casual levels and just talking mostly about Packs Unplugged and other stuff like that, because we're only about a week out from that, I should say. But it was a fun little Old Dominion versus Old Dominion fight. So that'll do it for this one. Those are both the game and thoughts on how things went. I'm going to do something with the Weaver Court one. I don't know if I'll go back and go through play by play because, like I said, it's been a little bit. But I'm supposed to play maybe some Blood Bowl tomorrow. I have some orcs from a while back that I'm working on here. So I'm going to work on those orcs and maybe try to get a Weaver Court game in. If I do, even if I don't go through that one in detail, I will talk about the 4 games I've had and overall thoughts. And like I said, in a week, I have another tournament. I think I'm going to bring Euroni to that because I need to paint more Euroni. And if I know I'm taking to a tournament, that's going to force me to do some painting. It's not painting required, but I prefer to bring painted models. So that might be a good way to do it. And I haven't brought them to a tournament. I played them a bunch, but I've brought... we, of course, don't have the stuff out right now, so I can't bring them, even if I wanted to. But my Euroni, I have it. So, and a good amount of it is painted. I probably need to paint... For a 2K list, I probably got to paint 5 or 6 models. And in a week, I can easily paint 5 or 6 broods. If I get these orcs done, I'm going to be painting them tonight. Some of that. The Damaru Damashi are probably the biggest thing I have to paint. And yes, I do look up kanjis to say things I want. Like on my Mahatsu, on its paper, it says, I hate this spider. Or I think technically it's like, I hate spider. But yeah, I do kind of look up stuff like that. All right, so that'll do it for this. I still want to do something talking about PAX Unplugged in general. So we'll see when we get to that. I also want to do some board game reviews I have planned, and I want to get back into going through non-battle report type stuff for Conquest. I have, like, about, at this point, another 3 weeks of work. And then I'm off, and that gives me plenty of time to do a lot of the things I have planned out. So I'm planning out a lot of things. We're going to see when you get to see it, though, because I need a little bit more free time. And this season is always the busiest season. I start having something like every weekend, be it family stuff or, I said, that tournament. So I'm still going to try to get you a good amount of videos before the end of the year or before Christmas time. But once Christmas hits and that's over with, I have like the better part of a month off. And there's a lot of plans of things I want to do in that time frame. All right, well, on behalf of everyone at the show, then have some good hobbying. It's a great gaming.